Welcome back to another video. Before we get started, please pay attention to this warning. The videos get crazy, the conspiracies are pretty controversial. That said, let's get into it.
So you bought Peeps for Easter? That's cute! Did you ever stop and think about what's actually inside one of these little birds? Let's start simple. Ingredient number 1 is sugar.
Chemicals.
Ingredient number 2 is corn syrup. And ingredient number 3 is even more sugar. That squishy marshmallow body everyone loves? That comes from gelatin, which is made from boiled down animal bones. Sweet! And that cheerful little Easter color? Synthetic dyes like yellow 5, red 40, whatever
Red
it takes
40.
to make it look festive. They even add potassium sorbate, a preservative that helps these smiling birds sit on store shelves for months. You don't care though, right? And that strange crust on the outside? That's a waxy sugar coating, so they don't stick together in the package, just in you. Eat just 4 or 5 of these little marshmallow birds, and you're already looking at around 25 grams of sugar. Get your insulin ready. But go ahead, it's Easter after all. Bite the smiling sugar bird. I'm sure nothing about that feels weird.
You're already infected.
Brain rot.
Brain
reels.
rot reels.
That's crazy though. You're literally just eating chemicals and chemicals and chemicals. Red 40, red 40, and red
U.S.
40.
ex-U.S. ambassador to Mexico impregnated an 11-year-old girl. This is Earl Anthony Wayne, the former U.S. ambassador to Mexico from 2011 to 2015. You may want to question ex-U.S. ambassador to Mexico, Mr. Earl Anthony Wayne, about his involvement with an underage girl when he attended and was arrested by federal police. We believe that Blank and Epstein were involved organizing this party, and it was held in Mexico at a U.S. consulate-controlled housing facility. He was sentenced in Mexico in 2017 to a life sentencing for impregnating an 11-year-old girl. Her son's DNA matches Wayne's 100%. But after a huge payoff, the U.S. State Department made a deal with the corrupt judge to allow an ex-U.S. Marine to stand in his place and serve his sentencing in Mexico. Mr. Anthony has an outstanding arrest warrant here in Mexico for avoiding sentencing. Earl Anthony Wayne is now a professor at American University. He's actually teaching classes in the spring of this year on U.S. foreign policy diplomatic practice. After this started circulating online, Earl Anthony Wayne deleted his X account. Reporting on more Epstein-related documents, those other videos are on my YouTube channel.
Hold on. Did he say he has someone doing his sentence for him in Mexico?
ICE is now stationed at airports across America, and they are searching your phone. So here is how to protect yourself before you fly. Because border agents have the legal authority to search your devices. They already used it to deny a Norwegian tourist entry over a meme on his phone, allegedly, and ICE agents in plain clothes just detained a mother in front of her young daughter at San Francisco's airport after a tip from TSA. So some things that you can do before you fly. Don't bring your daily phone. Or the only guaranteed way to keep your data safe is to leave it at home, so bring a burner instead, right? An old phone that you've wiped clean with a fresh account, a temporary SIM, and nothing synced to your real accounts. No emails, no messages, no party pics, no memes. Also, you can turn off Face ID and fingerprint unlock, right? Set a random alphanumeric passcode, something at least 8 characters, and when you enter it, shield your screen, right? Surveillance cameras are everywhere. Also, when you hit a security checkpoint, power your phone completely off, not sleep, off. That makes it significantly harder for your data to be forensically recovered. And also, if they ask you to unlock it, you can say no, but know that your device may be confiscated for months or indefinitely if they claim that there's evidence of a crime. And while you shouldn't have to do any of this in a free country, here we are. And for the full digital security guide from The Intercept, check out their page, share to spread the word, and of course, follow to stay in the loop.
That's crazy.
350 frozen squirrels were found in a freezer in a Chinese restaurant in New York City. New Yorkers are losing their minds. And quite frankly, I'll be honest with you, man, I'm disappointed in New Yorkers for losing their minds about the fact that Chinese people are feeding them squirrels, right? Because as somebody who grew up in New York City and grew up eating Chinese food, every single time I walked up into a Chinese restaurant, right, I only hoped that I was getting chicken. I only hoped that I was getting beef, right? Like, I hope this is shrimp, right? You gotta be a hopeful human being walking into a Chinese restaurant, man, and expect that you're getting exactly what you're getting. We all knew better. We all knew better. Broski's not shocked, and honestly speaking, I'm not mad that it's squirrel, right? It could have been frogs, could have been raccoons, it could have been something else, right? I
No
expect
way,
the pigeons, I'm not gonna
dude.
lie, but I haven't been seeing a lot of pigeons out here, so maybe perhaps say, you know what, let's move on to the squirrels. Crazy, but as a New Yorker, you should know better, bro.
No way.
How did we get here? Because the husband of the former Secretary of Homeland Security was just caught in a secret double life. Leaked reports and photos from the Daily Mail allege that Brian Nome was living as Jason Jackson, an online persona obsessed with a bimbification fetish. What on God's green earth is a bimbification fetish? Well, a bimbification fetish is a subculture and roleplay niche centered around a physical and mental transformation from a person into a Bimbo. We're talking hundreds of messages of Brian Noam wearing flesh-colored crop tops stuffed with balloons to mimic oversized breasts. So what does Kristi Noem think about all of this? Her team says that she's devastated and blindsided. The family is officially asking for privacy and prayers. This comes after Kristi herself was ousted from the DHS amid rumors of an affair with Corey Lewandowski. Critics are calling it a vengeance leak within the industry. The public's reaction is, as you would expect, explosive. Commentators like Megyn Kelly are holding nothing back, while national security experts warn that this was a massive blackmail risk for the US government. And public reaction, well, is exactly what you would expect. Now this raises the question, is this a personal scandal or a national security breach? Leave your answer in the comments and follow for more.
It's not that deep. It should just move on.
Erica is about to put on the blackest blackface anyone has ever seen in this world. Erica is about to show us the void. She will become the dark side of the moon. It's just a Mr. Popo cosplay. At a certain point, it's just Mr. Popo. We're about to see the most insidious blackface since the birth of a nation. This blackface is gonna make Justin Trudeau, it's gonna make Jimmy Kimmel, it's gonna make Howard Stern all look like chumps, all look like amateur, like grifter level racism. We're about to see the most heinous, ridiculous, the other side of roots ass racism. I believe that Erica, through sheer hate and rage, will physically show us what a black hole looks like. And it will collapse the Western Hemisphere. But she's gonna show us.
Hot take right now. Didn't Erica forgive the person who pew-pewed Charlie, but she can't forgive Drewski? What's that about? Seriously, think about that. Think about that.
Well, we're fucked. Heavy screen time use has now officially been linked to cognitive decline. New research suggests that frequent consumption of things like social media and short-form content can increase your dementia risk of up to 400%. Why though? It's because your brain needs to actually be used in order to stay strong. But scrolling, especially on short-form content like TikTok, is going to make sure that your brain isn't actually working. Just basically consuming without actively processing. These short videos with these fast, engaging cuts is going to keep your brain in passive mode. And over time, passive mode is going to weaken your cognitive resilience. Reading is going to start feeling harder. Focusing is going to start feeling harder because your brain's adapting to stimulation. As a former doom scroller myself, I noticed this shift was happening. I tried using the Apple screen time blocker, but I would always catch myself pressing the bypass option and continuing to scroll. So instead, I downloaded this app called Spool. The reason Spool is so effective is because it adds friction before entering some of your favorite apps like TikTok. This small pause is going to break your autopilot scrolling addiction. It's going to help bring your brain back into active mode. Your brain... If you guys learned something in this video, you guys should definitely drop me a follow. And you guys should go try out Spool. And if you guys don't like it, drop something nice down in the comments.
So now you're telling me that there's an underground city below Los Angeles that's been there for God knows how long.
But didn't I tell you stranger things have happened? Did I not tell y'all that the whole Epstein files, like all of that stuff, stranger things have happened? That is just scratching the surface. I'm telling you guys, have you seen that show called Paradise, I think it was called, where a huge catastrophe happened and then this man, I believe he was part of like the military, and his family were moved to a city underground. And he figured out for the longest time the rich and elite have had an underground city all this time. Listen, there is a reason why the map of vanished people directly, for entertainment purposes only, the map of vanished people directly lines up with the map of the cave systems. Do y'all remember that mom in Disney? Okay, we're getting into the nitty gritty. Do y'all remember the mom in Disney that said that she saw the floor open in Disney and someone came up and tried to steal her daughter? Everybody said she was freaking insane. Mind you, there was other people that said they saw it too. Everyone's like, oh, they're just jumping on the bandwagon. They want clout. Stranger things have happened. The more you learn, the less you know. I'm telling you that right now. If we can find out that the top 1% are sacrificing to Moloch, and I can't even get into it without my video getting taken down. I might just have to do a longer form video on my YouTube, which is Kayla Lorraine, for those of you that be asking me that. I am not surprised that there is subtropolis under there. They're trying to spin it as, oh, it's empty, it's been there for how long, and we're aware it's there, but nothing's happening. Honey, I hate to tell you this, but we don't believe anything y'all say anymore. Every time the news comes up here trying to say something is fake or a hoax, or, oh, it's just not being used, I already know. They're lying. They're lying. Until y'all tell me what's really going on in Antarctica, I don't want to hear nothing you got to say. I fully believe that Subtropolis is still being used right now for probably unspeakable things. God knows what they're using it for. Anyway, y'all, that's my daily dose of conspiracy. As always, make sure you like and follow. Comment down below what you think.
Where does he fit into the whole Epstein files situation? Well, I'm going to show you. I mean, by the way, here's photos of him in his 40s with the same people. One, who's arrested, and two, the guy that's been gone. And they didn't even hang out. This is just, I'm sure this is just, acquaintances, right? You know, sitting buddy to buddy. Let's take selfies together. What's even worse is he's also here with Lutnick. The same Howard Nutlick that's his right-hand man for the Secretary of Commerce. This Nutlick. The same guy who said Epstein was gross. Really? Remember that FBI document that I showed you? This one right here? And on page 2, how it said Cantor Fitzgerald had a history of crime? Howard Lutnick owned that. And it also said Howard Lutnick ran everything, and he maintained a very small circle, and Lutnick instructed all of the fraud being committed. What? Fraud? Oh yeah, he used philanthropy as a smokescreen for illegal activity. Just to remind you. And also, Cantor Fitzgerald was doing bad pre-September, but after the attacks, they were doing very well. But what's even worse is Lutnick was a neighbor of Jeffrey Epstein in the adjoining property at 71st Street. Lutnick bought the property for $10 through a trust. $1 million something property for $10. No red flags there. Les Wexner and Epstein owned the building, and Lutnick bought it in a very roundabout way from Epstein. But I thought you never knew the guy, and you only met him once, and the guy was gross. Oh, it gets worse. Lutnick also gave Sarah Ferguson office space above Cantor Fitzgerald in New York at the Towers to start a Children in Crisis charity. Ghislaine Maxwell and Ferguson would attend the Dolce Vita parties which raised money for these charities, which the charity no longer existed by the time of this investigation. Now they said Sarah Ferguson. Who the hell is Sarah Ferguson? Oh, that's Sarah Ferguson, the wife of the same guy who just got arrested for being in the files? Former Prince Andrew, part of the Windsor family, one of the 13 most powerful families in the world. Windsors, the Rothschilds, yeah. When you talk about elites, you're talking about these guys who run the world. Pretty fucking crazy. Oh, but Trump, you never knew him, right?
No, Prince Andrew, but it's a tough story. It's a very tough story. I don't know him. No.
Me and the devil walking side by side. Me and the devil.
Now what's crazy is you even said you might even give her a full pardon, and that wasn't off the table because you could do anything. You're the president. And by the way, you're seen with this guy, the same guy who's arrested for heinous crime. But then you've also appointed this guy who was also neighbors with the same guy that you happen to not know. And what's even crazier is that the Prince Andrew's wife and Ghislaine Maxwell worked at the Towers, the same Towers that now are gone, and all that evidence is gone too. If he was such a good fucking guy, he would have every one of these people arrested with the same fucking documents that we are reading now, but instead, he's over here buddy-buddying with them and electing them official positions.
Stop what you're doing. This man, while 160,000 miles away from planet Earth on a journey to the moon, just made a statement without any preparation that is going viral.
I think these observances are important, and as we are so far from Earth and looking back at, the beauty of creation, I think for me, one of the really important personal perspectives that I have up here is I can really see Earth as one thing. And, when I read the Bible and I look at all of the amazing things that were done for us who were created, it's, you have this amazing place, this spaceship. You guys are talking to us because we're in a spaceship really far from Earth, but you're on a spaceship called Earth that was created to give us a place to live in the universe, in the cosmos. I think maybe the distance we are from you makes you think what we're doing is special, but we're the same distance from you. And I'm trying to tell you, just trust me, you are special. In all of this emptiness, this is a whole bunch of nothing, this thing we call the universe. You have this oasis, this beautiful place that we get to exist together. I think as we go into Easter Sunday, thinking about all the cultures all around the world, whether you celebrate it or not, whether you believe in God or not, this is an opportunity for us to remember where we are, who we are, and that we are the same thing and that we got to get through this together.
What did you think of that message? Was that exactly what humanity needed to hear with all of the things going on in the world? Or Do you feel a different way about that? Let me know in the comments down below. Also, there's a lot of speculation on whether or not these people are actually on the way to the moon. What do you think?
My last video,
Be sure to
you know what I'm
like,
talking
follow,
about.
and subscribe to stay up to date with what's going on in the world and much more.
Is it AI? Was that all just done at a studio?
To somebody who purchased this property, and this place is haunted unlike anything I've ever seen before. It's known as the Witch's Cage. In 2004, Vanessa Mitchell moved into the home with her friend Nicole. After that, objects would disappear without a trace, only to turn up in odd places. The sinks would turn on when no one was around them, water running as if unseen hands had turned the handles. Shortly after that, Nicole became pregnant. She and her boyfriend felt that the house was no place to raise a child and decided to move out. Vanessa was left completely alone in a house that completely terrified her. Everything became more menacing once she was left by herself. She would dread coming home from work every day. She began to see towering black masses lingering in each room and stretching from floor to ceiling. Everything escalated when the spirits began to make physical contact with her. One morning, Vanessa was brushing her teeth in the bathroom when out of nowhere she felt a sharp, violent smack on her back. The pain was so intense that she screamed, spraying toothpaste all over the mirror. Her heart raced as she spun around, but the room was empty. But as terrifying as all this was for her, the situation was about to become far worse. Vanessa became very sick and didn't know what was happening to her. And when she went to the doctor, she discovered that she was 4 months pregnant. She was shocked and afraid, but determined to raise her child as a single mother. And in December 2007, she gave birth to her son, Jesse. However, what should have been a joyful time was overshadowed by the spirits that surrounded them in the house. One time, she left Jesse in his crib in her room for just a few minutes, and when she returned, some of his items had vanished. Then one afternoon, she needed to iron some shirts, but her ironing board was downstairs in the living room. Jesse was sleeping, so she stepped out of the room and left him alone. Everything seemed normal for the first few minutes of ironing until she heard a strange noise behind her. 4 of Jesse's train toys were rolling across the living room floor towards her. She grabbed her shirt and ran to the stairs to get Jesse. When Vanessa reached the bottom of the stairs, she stopped cold. The ghost of a man was standing at the top of the stairs, looking at her. Before she could move, he turned, stepped into the bedroom, and slammed the door behind him. Vanessa ran up the stairs and threw herself at the door, but it wouldn't open. The sounds of Jesse's screams echoed through the house as she fought with the handle. The door finally burst open and the ghost was gone. She grabbed Jesse from the crib, and in that moment she knew they couldn't stay in the house any longer. She and Jesse stayed with friends and family before eventually finding an apartment in town. What do you think of Vanessa's story? I really want to know that.
This man was trying to film some deer walking around in his yard. Accidentally caught something absolutely terrifying on camera. So Richard went outside on his porch to film these deer walking around in his backyard. And when he pans the camera over, there's something hanging in his tree that was not there in person. And there it is. What clearly looks like a human, just solid gray, is hanging from his tree. Now, this guy freaked out because it was not there while he was filming. It's not hanging in his tree now, but it was in the video. You can clearly see its hands, its feet. It's wearing some sort of robes or maybe a dress. It looks like robes to me, though, because it has like cufflinks. It really makes you wonder if this is the area of where the spirit's final time on this earth was. I would definitely dig into the history of my property if I was him. But what do y'all think? Watch the video again and tell me what you see.
There is a robot arm making your food in White Castle right now, and it just replaced over 90% of human interaction in the kitchen. Flippy 2 by Miso Robotics is already deployed at White Castle, Chipotle, and Wing Zone. It fries over 40 menu items. Chef Robotics has prepared over 20 million meals with autonomous robot arms across North America. Companies are building fully autonomous 20-foot containerized kitchens where robotic arms, AI fryers, and smart dispensers make your food from order to box with zero human touch. The food robotics market is on track to hit $30 billion by 2030. For decades, the job of flipping burgers was always the floor of our economy, the fallback, the thing that you could always do, and we just automated it. This machine doesn't call in sick, it doesn't need a raise, it doesn't need health insurance, it will fry your chicken tenders at Dodger Stadium and fold your burrito at Chipotle with the same precision that it would at midnight as it does at noon. This is just like the movie WALL-E, where the robots take over all the jobs and do everything and the humans become passengers. Except in the movie WALL-E, the humans are actually relaxing. In today's age, the humans are panicking and constantly applying for jobs that AI is taking over. If you want to stay more informed on dystopian tech news, then sign up for my newsletter through the link in my bio. As always, think about it, let me know what you think, and follow me.
That's insane. Wally was right.
So the U.S. government just did an airstrike on Ecuador thinking they were hitting the cartel, but it turned out it was a dairy farm. The United States president is committing war crimes pretty much uncontested. First, he started bombing boats in Venezuela, claiming that they were trafficking illegal substances, but it turns out that they were probably just fishermen. And now it looks like he's expanding that strategy to strike other countries in South America, and it looks like they're not doing it with the best intelligence, obviously. First of all, it's unlikely that a lot of substances come from Ecuador specifically, so them striking that country is really just for show. Also, if Donald Trump really was concerned about helping people with substance abuse issues in the United States, he would create a more robust healthcare system, but instead, he's kicking tons of people off of their Medicare. What's more likely is that Donald Trump is trying to bully nations in South America or in the Western sphere of influence so that he can just steal them for their resources. In Venezuela, they kidnapped the president of that country, and he's in New York awaiting trial right now just because he wanted a vice president that was in office that would sell him the oil or just let him take it without paying anything at all. But here's the problem. Even though that's highly illegal, at least they can say, oh, well, you know, illegal substances are bad. You know, people get addicted to them, whatever. But this situation right here, where they're striking a dairy farm in Ecuador, proves that they're not even knowing what they're hitting. Thank God nobody was in this dairy farm, but imagine if they were. America would have took their lives for no reason. Like, that's a crime. That's terrible. And think about how other countries must see us now. It's like, wow, America will just come over and bomb you for no reason just because they want to steal your oil. The United States literally topples regimes in other regions of the world for doing the exact same stuff that we're doing right now. And a lot of people don't know about this, so please like, share with someone that you think will care. Also follow. Also, if you want to support me, it's my full-time job to give you these videos. You can stream my music. My new single, Miss Your Body, is on all platforms right now.
There's a meteorite that entered the sky in Ohio, 6 feet wide, weighed 7 tons. Whoa.
That's 14,000 pounds.
Yes. Sonic boom heard from Ohio all the way to Pennsylvania. And people were like, what the freak is that? It hit in like Lake Erie or something.
Oh my gosh, did it break apart at all? Or
Yeah. But then all of a sudden, people all over the world, they're like, there's tons of these giant meteorites. People were getting on video, like in South America, it flashed and the whole sky was just blue. People were like, what the heck? NASA comes out and they're like, guys, this is just normal. There's over 25,000 meteorites a day that hit Earth.
a day?
And people were like, since when? But they said this one in Ohio, when it entered the atmosphere, the sonic boom airburst, they said it was equivalent to 250 tons of TNT.
Oh my gosh, is everybody okay?
Yeah. It said the flash was bright enough to be seen in daylight across multiple states and even parts of Canada. The news is talking about it like it's nothing new. It's just a lot of people have phones now. But everyone's like, this isn't super normal. There's like one person where like they're filming, it looks like a meteorite, but then it like changes direction.
What?
So people are like, meteorites don't change direction.
What is that? They don't change direction. What is that? That's weird.
This couple is a sad warning as to why you never move for a man. But this entire case just proves it doesn't matter how much money you make or how smart you are, it will never change who you truly are. Just because someone is married to a doctor doesn't mean they aren't living an absolute nightmare. This woman married a doctor. I say this man makes money. This man makes extremely good money. I'm not just saying that this woman married this man because he was a doctor and made a ton of money, because she is a total catch too. Ariel Koenig is literally a nuclear engineer. We are talking this woman is just as smart as this man. Ariel Koenig didn't just marry the picture perfect doctor. He changed her entire life once she married this man. Moved her all the way to an island. Making this nuclear engineer's only way of finding work was through finding remote job opportunities. This is a red flag to anyone. It doesn't matter how successful your partner is, if they expect you to pick up and move your entire life and then cut you off to everyone you know and love and who can support you, really never know what's gonna happen, because this nuclear engineer ended up in Hawaii on a hike with a husband when he tried to push her off a cliff, then inject her with the syringe he had packed, and then hit her over the head with a rock. They're saying the only reason she survived is because there happened to be other people in this area and heard her screaming for her life. Her husband is now on trial, claiming that actually she was the one who tried to push him off of a cliff. No word yet as to why he had packed syringes with vials of stuff that he was planning to inject her with, or the fact that they found the rock he used on his wife's head. The entire thing just being a very scary reminder that monsters come in all shapes and sizes.
That's absolutely insane.
Why did Jeffrey Epstein have police uniforms in his closet? So these are real photographs from the recently released Epstein files. You can see the EFTA numbers there and there. And as you can see, these appear to be photographs of investigators going through Epstein's closets. Now, I believe that this is in his New York home. I could be wrong on exactly where it was, but I think this is in Manhattan. But as you can see, Epstein had multiple button-down shirts that literally would make one look like they were a part of the New York City Police Department. I mean, right here you can see this is actually the Special Police. There's another patch up here. I can't identify that patch. I don't know what it would be from. But, I mean, if you want a clear shot right here, Police Department, City of New York. You can see these are actually 2 uniforms in Epstein's closet, in his house. Why? On the floor, there also appear to be multiple pairs of furry Croc shoes. I mean, just looking at them, these appear to be child-sized, but I could be wrong. Regardless, having so many pairs of the same shoe, I mean, it's just so strange and off-putting. And none of this explains why Epstein would have police officers' uniforms in his closet, multiple uniforms at that. Now, I've heard stories that Epstein and his cronies would put these shirts on to go intimidate witnesses or some of the girls that they had trafficked, the children, to try scare them into silence. And I mean, I don't know, the possibilities here really are endless. This could have been some sort of disturbed role-playing thing. There could have been actual police officers who left these items over at Epstein's places after engaging in activity, maybe visiting Epstein. I don't know, but obviously normal people don't just have multiple New York City Police Department uniforms hanging in their closet. I get it if you have something like this potentially in a plastic box in your attic or your basement, in a Halloween storage area, maybe if it's a costume. But I mean, as you can see, these are just hanging in the closet next to what look to be clean shirts and other dress shirts and things that people would wear. So I want to clarify that these are the same 2 uniforms just flipped around. But I mean, somebody make this make sense. It makes no sense to me. And when it comes to Epstein, everything has a meaning. Nothing is random. And these uniforms and these outfits were there for a reason. They were definitely used. What they were used for is what we don't know. But yeah, if you have any thoughts or ideas, let me know in the comment section. I'm very curious and eager to hear your thoughts on this. And as always, follow along for more updates in this case.
That's insane. What do you guys think it was for?
So Donald Trump just admitted that his new $300 million ballroom has a secret underground complex underneath it. A lot of people online were speculating that that was the case, right? Because $300 million for a ballroom just doesn't make that much sense. Also, the amount that it would require for a underground bunker is about 300 million. So it lined up perfectly. And he just straight up brought out the schematics. Like, look at what I'm doing here. First of all, it's not his right to tear down pieces of the White House. Normally, I really wouldn't care about that sort of thing. But then you remember that he's a real estate guy. Like, imagine if you were in one of Trump's buildings and you started knocking the walls down. Like, do you think he would have been cool with that? But the far darker implication is that Donald Trump is not going to leave office in 2028. Why would you spend $300 million that you personally fundraised to create a bunker for another president that probably hates your gut? Also, I don't feel great with the fact that he started a war with a potentially nuclear power and he's building a bunker for himself. What about the rest of us? The only silver lining to the situation is that he's such an idiot that he'll just openly say what he's doing, right? Because he thinks that it's cool or that we're going to be impressed by it. But if you're impressed by me, then please like, share, and follow. Or you can also support me by streaming my music, my new single, Miss Your Body, all platforms.
Has delivered their 10-point peace plan as we're 24 hours away from Trump's deadline. Let me just read this off to you. Guarantee that Iran will not be attacked again. Permanent end of the war. No ceasefire. End to Israeli strikes in Lebanon. Lifting of all U.S. sanctions on Iran. into all of the regional fighting against Iran's allies, Hezbollah, the Houthis, etc. Iran would open the Strait of Hormuz. Iran would impose a $2 million fee per ship. They would split that with Oman. Iran would provide the rules for a safe passage through the Strait of Hormuz. And Iran would use the fees from the Strait of Hormuz for reconstruction instead of reparations. Let me know what you think about that. Comment your thoughts. That's the 10-point peace plan.
Guys, the Artemis crew is now flying past the moon right now, and the footage that is about to come back is going to be absolutely insane. So happening right now, as you're watching this video, the Artemis crew is flying past the far side of the moon.
Catching glimpses of the far side, the side that you can never see from Earth. It just looked different out the window, and that is wild. It just really put our place in the universe in perspective.
This is happening in real time. They are photographing craters and features of the moon that no human being has ever been able to see before, and the footage and the photos from this are about to come back. I have been covering this mission every single day non-stop since launch, and this is the moment that we have all been waiting for. The crew is also about to reach the far side of the moon that's going to make them lose contact with Earth for about 40 minutes. Whenever they come back around the moon and we're able to get a data transfer, the content that drops is going to be unlike anything that we have ever been able to see from space. We're going to be getting far side moon photos from 4,000 miles away from the surface, shot on iPhones and professional cameras this time. Nothing's going to be grainy. A solar eclipse that's going to happen from their angle, which is going to be from behind the moon, and then also the crew reactions from the farthest point that any human being has ever been from Earth. Guys, obviously the second that any of this drops, I'm going to be posting it all right here for you, so make sure that if you're watching this video, you go ahead and add me now, because yes, this is about to be insane.
Wow, that's crazy.
Is this proof music has become more satanic over the years? Watch how different it is.
Copyright.
Check this out.
So music's not that loud.
We get paid to rap about that stuff. They actually pay us more when we rap about more ignorant stuff, so I make sure I even align and come on talking on stages like this, because I know better and I'm at an age point. I'm 36. They power us really went from when we 21 to 25 where we really don't know.
Yeah, the music sucks nowadays. The lyrics are...
We learned that CBS News chief Barry Weiss has disturbing connections to Jeffrey Epstein, and it involves both her wife, Nellie Bowles, and someone who she just hired at CBS. First, Barry Weiss's wife, Nellie Bowles, was corresponding with Jeffrey Epstein in 2018. You can read the full chain behind you. In 2018, Nellie Bowles seemingly went to Epstein's house, Epstein asking Bowles about her and Barry Weiss's relationship. Epstein said, "How did introducing your partner go to mom? Even better than the good career move." Speaking about her move to the New York Times. Bowles said, "Ha ha 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 ha, I missed this. It actually went great." And Epstein goes, "When are you and your babe back in NYC?" Really just disturbing stuff. But it gets even worse. Because Barry Weiss just hired this guy, Peter Attia, one of CBS's new contributors. Attia was also emailing Epstein over 1,000 times, including one where he says, "The biggest problem with becoming friends with you, the life you lead is so outrageous and I can't tell a soul." What the fuck? Just 4 days ago, Barry Weiss hired this guy at CBS. Not only was her wife hanging out with Epstein years after he was already convicted, she just hired someone who had over 1,000 emails with Epstein. You have 1,000 emails with anyone? The whole thing is so disturbing. Even more of a reason to never watch CBS News again.
Here are some brands that were found in the Epstein files. Leslie Wexner, the billionaire founder of Victoria's Secret. Chuck E. Cheese, the CEO, conveniently resigned February 13th after he found out that the Epstein files were released. Yo, we cannot let these elites get away with this. I've started a petition to release the rest of the files. We gotta do something. Comment now and I will send it to you. Also, LifeTouch, a brand that takes 90% of our school pictures, and it makes you wonder where these pictures are going. It could be a catalog for the predators to see which child they would like next. We gotta be vigilant.
We spoke about this in about a month ago.
The two cheerleading teams performed dueling routines. until those cheers turned into chaos. The adults in the room were hardly able to break up the fight. Some of the students ended up on the ground.
In 2020, in the middle of a high school sports game, two cheerleading teams from opposing schools got into a brutal fist fight on the court.
Brutal.
You saw the video at the beginning of this. I mean, this is an absolutely crazy incident. So the cheerleaders were from Trinity Catholic High School and East St. Louis Senior High School. And we still don't know exactly what led up to the fight breaking out in the first place. But after this event, which was captured on camera, the cheerleading seasons for both of these teams, for both of these schools, were entirely suspended for the rest of the year. Now, interestingly, about 2 years before this brawl, there was another fight in the exact same gym, this time during a basketball game that turned violent. And after that fight, which, like I said, took place in the same gym, 5 people were charged with crimes. So, yeah, I just thought this video was absolutely crazy. I definitely didn't have anything like this happen when I was in high school. But let me know your thoughts on this incident in the comment section below. And as always, follow along for more.
This guy is going viral because he looks like something very familiar. Before you take a guess, I did say something instead of someone. Cause he sure looks like Jake Sully from Avatar. He looks exactly like him. It 100% is probably the nose and maybe the eyes. But I think the issue is, I don't know if this is AI. I feel like it should be. It maybe is. I don't know. But Twitter's been going insane after seeing his photo. Because again, the resemblance is uncanny. I mean, Jake Sully?
So
Jake
AI.
Sully as a human? Jake Sully? Jake Sully? I personally want to say it's AI, but I just don't know. What do you guys think?
AI.
What do you guys think? This is why I can't trust the internet.
For sure AI.
A special needs teacher SA'd her students in just about every way possible. 22-year-old Nadia Horn abused her power as a special needs teacher to groom her extremely underage students and SA them. Nadia even went as far as providing one of her students with an iPhone 14 so that she could Snapchat him very inappropriate and revealing photos of herself. She would also use Snapchat to encourage the student to skip class and just come over to her apartment instead. Nadia would gain the trust of her students and facilitate private meetings with them outside of school. Allegedly, Nadia also provided alcohol to her minor students while they were at her apartment. Nadia brought back 2 of her students to her apartment and SA'd them in just about every way possible. When Nadia was questioned about the SA, she said it felt mutual, which is an insane statement to make. Nadia has not been sentenced yet and is scheduled to return to court for a hearing on May 20th, 2026. So Nadia is just free and out and about right now, which is disgusting. But what do you guys think about this case?
The U.S. is bringing back the F-14 Tomcat as an official display team. In a surprise announcement this morning, the newly formed Department of Aviation Heritage confirmed it's restoring a fleet of retired F-14 Tomcats for a nationwide airshow tour. According to the statement, 4 airframes, 2 F-14A models from storage at Davis-Monthan Air Force Base, and 2 later F-14Ds sourced from museum collections are being made airworthy again. They're doing this to, quote, preserve naval aviation history and inspire future naval aviators. Initial training flights are expected to begin later this year, with the first public appearance planned for the 2027 airshow season.
Gas has gotten so expensive that people are now seen filling up their tanks with vegetable oil. If you have a diesel engine, this will actually work in the short term, and if you know what you're doing, you can make it work in the long term as well. But doing so is illegal in the United States because straight vegetable oil is not registered by the EPA as a motor vehicle fuel. What's crazy is that Rudolf Diesel, the inventor of the diesel engine and diesel fuel, invented it to run off of 100% peanut oil, specifically with the goal to create a highly efficient engine that didn't rely on gasoline. Years after he successfully made this happen, Mr. Diesel disappeared in the middle of the night while traveling on a ship to London to have business discussions with the Royal Navy about using his fuel for their submarines. Back in 1913, the OG conspiracy theorists believed that he actually might have been murdered by big oil interests like the Rockefellers
$4 because they didn't want any competition. But the death was officially ruled a suicide. When have we seen that before? Either way, gas prices are climbing, with the current national average at $4.11 per gallon for regular. And if you live in California, Hawaii, Washington, Nevada, and Oregon, people are seeing prices in the sixes, which is just insane. It's important to note that peanut oil and vegetable oil are not always less expensive than diesel fuel, but used cooking oil is. So maybe it's time we revisit the drawing board, because that seems a lot cleaner for the environment and cost effective than war. As always, I want to hear what you think about all of this down below.
Why would they want that, though? It doesn't make them money. They want the money.
Okay, I just found out something completely shocking about turtles. And I honestly think they're trolling us at this point, because the natural world doesn't have time. Time doesn't actually exist, right? What the natural world has is rhythm. So time is a measurement of rhythm, but time doesn't exist. Clocks exist. Now, here's the crazy part. Turtles. I thought when I saw this post about lunar calendar on a turtle's back, that it was like some turtles, right? There's 13 carapaces in the middle of their shell, and there's 28 along the edge of their shell, segments of their shell. 13 moons, 28 days on turtle shells. This equals 364 days plus 1 day of rest. All indigenous peoples around the world knew the wisdom of the turtle and followed a 13-month calendar, as there are 13 moon cycles in a year and 27 to 29 days per cycle. It appears that 1 month was subtracted in order to sever the connection between people with the sun, the moon, and the stars, which are themselves a giant clock. But what I found out was, it's every single turtle and tortoise. Sea turtles, the same thing. A giant clock on their backs. So we're talking about the Fibonacci sequence is in the turtles, of course, as it is in all biological life forms. But the calendar is also on every single turtle's back. And you may be thinking, well, why would they change the calendar? Well, yes, to sever the connection, to alter our perception, our vibration, our reality just a little bit more. Another thing we have never been told about in school. Isn't that interesting? Instead, we're hearing about Pythagorean theorem and carbon emissions, and they don't tell us anything about this natural world. Shocking. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below and follow for more.